recording or this video, the boring but important one about how to acknowledge your sources or how to cite your sources in the body of your paper. This is chapter 11 in the Writing and Music book. I really love this opening quotation that readers do not trust a source that they do not know and cannot find. If they do not trust your sources, they will not trust your facts. And if they do not trust your facts, they will not trust your argument. So citations are so important because it really instills in your reader trust, a trust that you've done your homework, that you know your stuff, that you can point the readers to the sources so that they can verify them or read more or learn more as they wish. Making sure that the formatting is correct is so important because, again, it indicates to the reader not only the type of source, this is an article, this is a book chapter, this is a score, this is a recording, but it also gives the reader a sense of trust that this person has been careful with their source citations, so they know what they're doing. I really trust them. If you're worried about plagiarism or you haven't had a lot of experience using quotations and sources in academic writing, please read this part about what is plagiarism, different types of plagiarism, what is common knowledge, what you need to cite and what you don't need to cite, for example. And you've got some good examples there. And then you have really great examples about quoting, paraphrasing, and summarizing. And I would like to read in all of these papers a balance of all three strategies. They're important for writers, academic writers, to be able to do all of them. Think about quoting only when the language of the source is so vital to your argument. This example here, this long quotation, notice that these long quotations, longer than about 4 lines, are going to be single-spaced, they're going to be indented, but readers hate these long sources. We want to read your language, we want to read your words, your thoughts, and so to take so much time out of a very short paper, these papers are only 5 to 7 pages, to devote so much time to another voice is just not a good use of your time. So only time you're going to use a long block quotation like that is when the language is so necessary that you have to have it. Otherwise, what you want to do is you want to summarize or paraphrase, and I have examples of how an author might do that in the next boxes. Paraphrasing is tough. A lot of this material we've included in the book for English language learners that have a really tough time with that, but it might be useful for people that are just not as experienced with writing. I want to now talk about how to insert these quotations. You always want to introduce your quotation in the text, and giving your reader a little tiny introduction to who this author is, again, makes us trust the author. It's like your assessment in the annotated bibliography, right? Who is this author, Elie Hassama? Well, she wrote this book, Gendering Musical Modernism. Whoa, she sounds very smart, right? Why should we trust H.C. Robbins Landon? Well, he's a Haydn scholar, right? Or George Lewis, he's professor of American music at Columbia University, right? This gives those authors a little bit of cred, and it also helps your reader frame the importance of the quotation. All right, inserting the notes. So what's going to happen is after any quotation, paraphrase, or summary, you need to, in some way, point your reader to that source. So you're going to do this with your word processor using the footnote. I don't want endnotes, I want footnotes, please. And if you don't know how to insert footnotes using your word processor, go to YouTube and Google, how do I insert footnote for Word for a Mac or something like that. And there will be a helpful 8-year-old that has created a video, a how-to video that you can watch for that. Let your computer do it because your computer will automatically insert and number the notes consecutively for you. It's so important. All right, one more thing to discuss, and that's these what are called discursive notes. A lot of academic writing has what we call discursive notes in it. In other words, it's a note that doesn't point the reader to a source, but actually it just kind of explains more about what's going on in the argument. I would recommend to use these very rarely. They're often a place where most authors like hide the most interesting evidence or the most interesting facts about their argument. So really think about whether or not the material you're tempted to put into a discursive note actually belongs in the body of your paper. Use them rarely, but they can be used to great effect, and I think the example here is a good example.